I'm Donald Moffat.
And I'm Heather Menzies. Logan's Run will not be on tonight.
But stay tuned for the Charlie Brown special and the Fat Albert Halloween special.
And we'll be back next Monday night.
Coming February 21st, it's Faye and the Moon, the latest graphic novel from Franco and the Saturn Sisters. Faye, mourning for her missing mother, sits night after night below the moon that her mother loved dearly. One night she discovers she can pluck the moon out of the star-filled sky. Back safe in her house, she holds it close, feeling comfort at last. Then Faye loses the moon and finds that taking it has awakened ancient monsters, rats, dragons, and more, who hunt for it for themselves. Will Faye be able to reclaim the moon, find her own inner strength, and save the world from eternal darkness? Faye and the Moon comes from the minds of Franco, whose works include Tiny Titans, Superman of Smallville, Archimaniacs, Itty Bitty Hellboy, and The Ghost and the Owl, and art from the Saturn Sisters, whose animated works include Sesame Studios' The New Neighbors, Hulu's The Awesomes by Seth Meyers, and PBS's Mira, Selkie from the Sea. Pre-order Faye and the Moon now. Available in bookstores and comic shops everywhere, February 21st. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for another Oh Yeah Trek Watch. I'm John. We got Wayne. We got Mitch reading Rin Tin Tin, apparently. A great Dell comic.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. I was talking about Dell and Gold Key yesterday with John Jackson Miller.
Silver.
Nice. What? Yeah. You're on an animal comic book.
Yeah. I was at a comic show this weekend, and I didn't know these animals had their own comics. And I was just like, how do they tell stories when they're animals? But you know what? They do. And it's something else. And this is a one-off. This is like issue 19 and issue 16. These things were popular with the kids.
Sure.
And Champion, Gene Autry's horse, he had his, and Scout had his own thing.
I
you
think
know,
Last had a comic too.
DC didn't Rex the Wonder Dog kind of replace Green Lantern? The Golden Age Green Lantern back in the day?
Maybe. And all I know, and I was telling Ordway about this, and he goes, Neil Adams did work. No, Gil Kane did work in here, and he goes, he can draw beautiful animals, and I got to give it credit. The artist knew how to draw. Horses are a pain in the ass to draw if you don't know how to draw, but they pull it off. And
it is fun to discover Dell and Gold Key comics, right? That it's like, oh yeah, Wally Wood did that Hogan's Heroes, or whatever.
Frank Frazetta did like this Indian comic. It was called like Broken Arrow or
White Indian,
something, whatever.
Oh, because he did do White Indian.
Yes,
I don't know what White Indian is. I just know it's a Frazetta cover. It's a big deal. So, and the best thing is, hey kids, look, check out that new toys from people that make plastic. And it tells you what kind of plastic it's made of. So plastic was the thing back then. Forget your video games. We're talking about polyurethane. And
man.
Opaline vinyl.
One of our favorites, Langley. He's in the hospital. Dude, I'm so sorry, buddy.
No.
Hey, feel better, Langley. I'm so sorry to hear
my God. It's been so long since we've seen everybody. So, things have happened. Sorry, Langley.
Yeah. Honestly, everybody, I figured we could use a break. We went nonstop because all the shows were rolling into each other. It's like, all right, we could take a break. But with the Picard trailer being released this week, and knowing that we've only got, we're just under 2 weeks before the premiere. We could talk about that. More YouTubers that I trust have seen season 3 already. Rob Burnett, Mark Altman as well from the Inglorious Trexperts. They're all
the whole season or just an episode or two?
No, they saw the whole season.
Oh, wow.
And they're saying nothing but good things about it.
Well, the trailer looks great.
I agree.
Why
lift the veil of secrecy? Are they hoping that they've had a lot of bad reviews for the first 2 seasons and they want Trek fans like Altman and your buddy there to give good praise to it? Is that
no, it's not. No, it was never authorized. It's knowing people. I mean, Mark Altman produced that Pandora show for the CW and Agent X back in the day from TNT. and Rob, has
Yeah.
been, low budget movie guy and stuff. So they know people, and people, they, whatever I don't know, but it was, I mean, even a shock to Terry Metalis as far as Rob seeing it. And in fact, right after that Super Bowl, or not Super Bowl, the AFC commercial they ran at halftime on Sunday for CBS.
Yeah.
Metalis was on with Rob, and also the actor that plays the new captain of the Titan that they show in the trailer.
Okay.
The guy that's in the conference room with Riker and Picard.
Yeah. Wow.
So and I guess he was one of the leads in 12 Monkeys, the sci-fi.
Yeah,
channel.
somebody else told me that too. I don't remember that show too often. So
Yeah, he
I didn't
played,
watch it, but I heard
Cole.
great things.
that was a while ago. That Sci-Fi Channel show.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Not that long. I mean, COVID conflates.
I know there's that gap of like 2 years. Like, wait, what happened? Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Years now.
But yeah, my question is, knowing nothing about what is in the 10 episodes, I have a feeling, unfortunately, Picard's still going to be a robot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's what
I don't think that's going to change.
You have to wait for the blue fairy to come.
No, I thought they could have fixed everything with the last Q episode, and when he snapped his fingers, John Luke's back, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh wait, I'm a real boy again," and he would have just, Bobby in the shower type of thing. Just forget that whole nonsense happened. But no,
it's sad. Burnett is even justifying it and saying, "Well, certainly we had Dr. Corby, that original series, putting his conscious." Into a robot and everything, and it's like, but that doesn't.
Yeah, but he was creepy. Christine,
oh, that was great.
It's still me, Christine.
Exactly. I am Roger Corby. Equate.
Yeah.
Transmit.
I don't want him screaming, I am Jean-Luc Picard.
I want Corby to show up
right?
on Strange New Worlds. Because it's far
enough before it happened. Yeah.
That, like, they could have like a little encounter or whatever.
Right. But, speaking of Strange New Worlds, Anson Mount is not too far from me. I've got to track him down. Out of the 3 million people in Connecticut, he'd be one of them, apparently. Who knew he was nearby?
Was he? I know for your morning radio show today, you did top 10 Connecticut celebrities.
Celebrities born. No, he wasn't born here, but he was born down in Tennessee.
Okay.
But he tweeted a picture when it snowed here like last week. He said, "Oh, here's the view outside my home here in Connecticut," and they showed all the snow. And I go, "Oh, quick, get the map out. Find where there was snow coverage last night, and we'll work our way back." And I'll bang on his door and, "Hey, come to my convention, buddy."
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't. You always think these people are way out in California. You never assume they might be a couple miles up the road from you. So
Langley says not only have they made Picard a robot, but they've done nothing with.
That
he's been an android. Yeah, I agree, man. Helly, Q gave him the bloody nose when he smacked him.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's whatever. Okay. It's
he wasn't even like super smart like Data or anything. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, it's the most contrived way to make somebody an android. Well, you'll age just like you would if you were normal or whatever, and we didn't give you anything special. And it's like, well, all right, so thanks for getting rid of the brain tumor, but what else?
Yes, right? Yeah.
What else have you done for me? So, whatever. Very weird.
Bad writing.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Well, hopefully we'll get a course correction for this season. I am also hearing rumors that Kurtzman was not involved at all in this at all. I mean, I guess
has he got a new show or something?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. This is what I'm hearing.
I saw the commercial with speaking of Captain Pike, Mariner, and Beavis and Butthead and Sylvester Stallone, where they're climbing the mountain of Stallone, like the side, like Mount Rushmore.
Oh, Paramount Plus commercial.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, it's a little takeoff, and they're like, "Oh no!" And you see the mountain sneeze, and they're like, "Oh no, it's a fly." Stallone. It's pretty funny, but the thing of it is, so Paramount's got Stallone's Tulsa show,
right?
Captain Pike in Star Trek,
right?
Beavis and Butthead,
yes,
new,
yes,
and then you've got Mariner, and
yes,
they had one other guy who I was like, "Who's that character?" Some actor, and that's about it. And I was like, "Oh, you would think they have, Yellowstone, isn't that Paramount's? Don't they own that?
Well, it is, but the right now Yellowstone is on Peacock, and I'm assuming it's a licensing thing, like when the Star Trek movies are on HBO Max right now.
Oh, all right.
But also, I have to say, Paramount Plus has upped their game. The Harrison Ford Yellowstone prequel, Tulsa King. I mean, there's good. I mean, obviously, Top Gun Maverick is there now.
Yeah, and then they're merging with Showtime or something. I read the other day.
Well, they're all Viacom.
Yeah, but they're gonna just the Showtime's gonna roll with Paramount. So if you have Paramount Plus, I'm gonna get Showtime now.
No, it's just like up here for Disney Plus, we get Stars.
We get Hulu here. If you have Disney Plus, you get Hulu with it.
Well, they bundle them. I mean, I've heard the same thing. I would imagine it's a higher tier. Paramount, because right now they do offer a lot of Showtime programming, but you have to have the Showtime account to get access to it. But yeah, even it's funny, even Showtime boxing, they say it's going to be on Paramount Plus. So fine with me.
And what other Trekkie stuff happened? Any word on Discovery season start?
No, I have a feeling they're not going to announce a start date until near the end of or sometime during Picard season 3.
So I'm hoping it's Picard, and then it goes right into Strange New Worlds. I hope, and then into Lower Decks, and then into Discovery.
I think Discovery is further along production wise than season 2 of Strange New Worlds. I could be wrong, but yeah. So
don't look forward to that.
Well, whatever. I mean, it's in. We'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
And if Michelle Yeoh wins an Academy Award, do you think she'll come back to Trek? Or
I mentioned that to John Jackson Miller because John has a Strange New Worlds novel coming out February 21st. Nice. But I'm like, don't you think that the likelihood, especially if Michelle, regardless, even being nominated or whatever, that it's possible, that Section 31 show is further and further away. And he said, yeah, and he's right. Harrison Ford's on the prequel Yellowstone show.
That's true.
And he's got the Apple show coming up or Disney.
It's on now. Yeah.
So, who's to say? I really think, much like we were talking, Mitch, about the fact that movies, TV, and animation, as far as all the DC or Disney or Marvel or whatever, that all that stuff is integrated and it's the same thing. I don't think the stigma of a movie actor doing TV exists anymore, especially these event miniseries that are happening on the streamers.
Yeah, like Costner, I binge watched all 5 seasons of Yellowstone, and I'm always taken back like, that's Kevin Costner? Because you're like, Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner is doing TV shows, and you almost think of it in the old days like it's a step down. But it is very soap. It's
also Waterworld, Kevin Costner.
Yeah, then I did. A buddy of mine said, "You do remember he made a lot of clunkers too." I go, "Yeah, he did."
No, you're right. And also, he's getting older, and just like a lot of the old school, Hollywood people would go to television after their movie days were over and stuff. Langley says Michelle Yeoh seems to really like being on Star Trek. I guess. I don't know. I know she's been busy. I'm really happy for Short Round.
Oh God,
for not remembering his name.
I talked to him, and because I told him last year to come back to the show because he was a guest years ago before his comeback here at Terrificon. And he said, "Oh, I'd love to come back." And now he's getting all these awards. My wife said he's not coming back. An Academy Award winner, and here he is. Get a picture with him for $40. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know.
I saw him on Kimmel, and he said that he is getting new offers, which is great.
He is
good for him. Good for him. Yeah. Great actor, funny guy, nice guy,
and he's doing Loki season 2. He just got cast. No, he's in a regular cast, and they got cast in another show with Michelle Yeoh. Actually,
I did hear that. Yes,
project for Disney Plus, I believe.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying, man. They're announcing all these other things, and it's like Section 31. Anyone?
Yeah,
Bueller.
Well, Lord knows all those people that were on those Warner Brothers shows got pink slipped. so they'll be looking for work too. So not everybody's working.
What, the CW shows or the?
Oh, all those
HBO Max.
Oh, I
Doom
see.
Patrol, Titans. Something else got canceled today. I just read. Maybe it was Superman and Lois.
Yeah, Superman
Well,
and
we
Lois
knew
is
that.
canceled.
That was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, my buddy Cutlets, Michael Cutlets, the actor, he's coming on there. He's coming to Terrificon this year, but he's playing Lex Luthor in the 3rd season. And I was joking with him if he's going to show up without hair. And he says, we're still talking about that. So I know they haven't finished filming all of it. Well, it's kind of, it sucks knowing that you're on a dead show. You know what I mean? It's like, what? Don't go out of my way for doing a big bit because there's no season 4.
But not only are there changes with, and I want to talk about the future DC TV and movie plans, but it's not surprising because the CW itself is changing.
Yeah.
So
reality shows,
that was already in the cards well before all the changes at Warner's and everything. So
right.
And that's fun. Listen, I the Arrowverse was great. It's been 10 years, and just like Smallville at 10 years,
it wears thin. Yeah,
time to move on. Time to do something else. Absolutely. So, as much as I appreciated it, it's like no, it's time for new ideas and fresh things.
The other series you're thinking of, Mitch, is Pennyworth got canceled.
That's what got canceled today. The Alfred show, which honestly I was surprised it was still in production. I thought it got canceled already.
Great show.
Yeah, we're finally getting it up here.
Oh, really?
I think it's terrific.
God, it started 3 years ago?
Oh no, we're getting season 3 now up here.
Oh, okay.
We had the first 2 seasons, but we're about 6 months behind you guys at times.
Yeah. Very strange, eclectic show. It's kind of like a combination of Gotham that used to be on the Fox network and then its own thing. It's kind of like retro 60s, 70s.
Oh, I love it.
It's like Austin Powers meets Gotham.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Sure. No, I think it's terrific.
Yeah. Too bad.
Again, this is the new normal where it's surprising if these shows last more than 3 seasons.
Yeah, I know. For goodness sakes. Imagine years ago they would have told us a show about Alfred the Butler. You're like, what? Really? God, no.
Well, the idea of him being a former MI6 agent goes back at least to the 80s, if not the 70s.
Yeah.
What
I know Jeff Johns definitely with Earth One pushed.
Well, certainly.
Yeah.
But even before that.
I was going to say, wasn't there that Gotham night show or something?
Yes.
Yeah, is that canceled? I don't know.
Well, I think that's already been
there. It is, Gotham Nights, yeah.
Right. That's been a commitment. Mitch, don't interrupt. You have plenty of time to talk. Please. Right. Thank you. You're out of practice, but just let everyone have their say. But yeah, that's coming up. I mean, I think that was a commitment before all these changes.
So they have to do it, I guess.
Kind of like the Orville with season 3.
Season 4. I mean?
No, season 3. That they had to make that season 3, even though Fox went away, and that's why they did season 3 the way they did it.
Yeah, but I think
go ahead, Mitch. Excuse me.
I was gonna say I think season 4 is never gonna happen at this point. So
I don't understand. Like, again, rather than trying to make a season 4, make an Orville movie.
Yeah. Well, they kind of wrapped it up in the last couple episodes,
but
there's still stuff they could do with it. I don't know. I'm surprised.
I agree. No, I agree. It's a great show. And it's and it was wonderful. And yeah, they did wrap it up. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. And again, most of the articles have been from people like us, not people in the know. So that's adorable that people are like, oh, no word yet, no word. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I see the actors moving on to other projects, so that kind of tells me they're done. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and again, that's why I think it would be harder to commit to a season, but maybe they could commit to making a movie. You know what I mean?
Or what if you just did spin-off characters? Just did like Bortus and his character have their own adventure.
Bortus and Clyden.
But exactly,
right?
Let's have a family sitcom with Bortus, Clyden, and the
limited run series, like 5 episodes or something. Yeah, why not?
Oh man, Artie's watching.
Hey, Artie. I don't know what else is going. What else was going on with Trek? So, I mean, what do you call wrapped up? Prodigy. How'd you like that finale?
You know what's been amazing is the IDW comic book series that Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly are writing, and Chris Cantwell's going to do, and it's starting very soon. The Worf comic book called Star Trek Defiant.
Oh wow!
He gets the Defiant, and Spock and Lore are on his crew.
Really, Spock?
Yeah.
So
no, I'm lying. Yes, really.
Wait, but he's like an ambassador.
Yeah, right. Like what timeline is this now? So it's right after Deep Space Nine, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Something happens in the IDW comic series because Worf has already shown up in Lansing and Kelly's series.
Yeah,
and it's going to cause the spinoff, and then they're going to have some big crossover in the summer as well. But everyone involved is just like buzzing how excited they are. And they've got great comic book writers that really know how to write good Star Trek. I went back and read Lansing and Kelly's Year 5 series. It's great. It's fantastic. And John Miller was killing me last night. He was telling me that, oh, God.
What?
I forget now who. He wrote a prequel book about Rios. I might even it here on the thing. And it's he got the La Serena from his ship from the Iosians, the gangster planet.
Here's the book. Shit.
Sorry, Mitch. Didn't mean to block you.
No, I don't care. I just dropped something.
Star Trek Picard Rogue Elements. And John's new Pike book, Strange New Worlds, The High Country, that comes out on February 21st. He also did a Pike story called The Enterprise Wharf, and it was, branded Discovery because it's before Strange New Worlds came, but it is purely a Pike Enterprise story.
Now, those take place in continuity with the show, or are they just like stories like out of their own stuff?
Well, it's in that gap between when the Berman era TV shows ended and Picard. So that's a good 20 years of area that they can cover.
Well, I was talking about Jackson Miller's show, the book that he's got coming out. Is
yes,
that like
all of it, including the IDW comics and the novels. No, it's all considered canon.
Official.
Yeah, they're going through if I remember right from the interview, they're going through the same type of process that they do for Lucasfilms. Is that there's this one little office of continuity, and they all the stuff has to be approved as it goes through the grind.
Yeah, that would be good because you don't want to get all over the place, So
yeah,
but we'll talk about that later. That's the DC universe is going to be going all over the place.
Indeed.
Well, that's a whole other story. What was the other?
We want to talk about it tonight.
No, I know, but I was going to tell you, I see so many clickbait Star Trek headlines in my news feeds every other day, and I guess it's just fanboys looking for something to talk about because they don't have any real news. Like I saw today that the finale of Picard is going to have all the different shows, enterprises come through, and I'm like, wait, is this? But I didn't even bother clicking on it because they don't know. They don't know what the finale is going to be. This is probably somebody looking to get some traction and some, views on their page or whatever like that. But I don't know.
God, I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'm glad I don't get those in my algorithm.
Oh no, that's why I usually send them to you sometimes just to verify. Like, is this legit or is this another BS article that I just saw? So
Artie likes Janeway. I do too.
You know what I like, Artie? The new Green Lantern Mego. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Wow. There we go.
They made the Megos we always wanted, but they never did. But now they do.
Does it come with a lantern?
It does come with a lantern down by the feet. Yeah.
That's great.
When I saw Artie, I knew he likes the Mego, so I had to throw that out there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, we will get into it, Ed. Ed wants to hear your point of view on the current upcoming DC.
Yeah.
And, Artie's excited for the Migos. Very good.
I don't know what other Trek stuff's gone. No movie news though, Johnny?
No. And again, I mean, obviously
they're quiet,
they're focusing right now on the TV stuff. We'll see what happens.
Oh, Mr. Riker, Jonathan Frakes, who's coming to Terrificon on July 28th to the 30th, along with his wife, Jeannie Francis from General Hospital, did say in an interview that he believes Trek's future is on television and not on the big screen. That is a legit article that I did see come across my news feeds. What do you think about that, Johnny? You think he's accurate? Like
Yeah.
TV's where it's at?
I do, because if you go back to the Berman era,
Yeah.
they would repurpose everything that they had made in subsequent television and film. And I think the JJ verse, I listen. There's hit and miss moments in the second two sequels, but yeah, I just think it makes more sense, and they can just repurpose and save money.
Yeah,
continuing to churn out TV, and TV is where Trek belongs. Why try to go after a big, wide mainstream audience when it never? I mean, this is one of the things that Rob Burnett always says, that Trek was never a mainstream product. It was always a cult show.
Yeah. Do you think it hurt it back in the 80s and 90s when people were like, remember that theory? Why should I go to the movies to see Star Trek when I can watch it at home for free? And even now in the world we live in, where hardly anybody goes to the movies anymore, unless it's a big event. So you're really beating your dead horse if you're going to go do a big budgeted Star Trek movie when everyone's going to probably watch it in 6 weeks after the release on their TV screen. So why kill yourself for that? You know?
What do you think, Wayne?
Yeah, I agree, because definitely movie watching has changed.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the release dates to whatever streaming service the movie's going to be on is like less than a couple of weeks. Why do you need to go to the movie theater? And,
well, I think Disney's got 2 months down for most of their stuff. I think, like,
but still, that's way too close. Like even Blu-ray releases are like within months after a movie has come out.
Sure. Well, I will slightly disagree, guys, because I do think that's COVID hangover.
Yeah.
People are still reluctant to go to movies. I think Marvel movies, Disney movies, even, and maybe the perception upstairs at Paramount of Star Trek has changed. Mm-hmm. But look at the success of Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, and that they were smart and like holding back on that. I really think the rush to get these movies out were because of the problems with COVID, and they kind of knew they were going to eat, some possible revenue doing it that way. I think these movies are too expensive to burn so quickly. Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
Did that Glass Onion experiment, did that kind of blow up in their face when they were like, wait a minute, we actually made money when we let it out for a week, and then we put it on Netflix for free? Hell, we could have milked this thing and made like $40 or $50 million in the box office, or more maybe.
I honestly don't know.
It was a cluster, if you ask me. It's like, wait, it's out in theaters for a week, and then they saw the numbers per screening were good, but it's already on Netflix. It's like, well, you can't take it back now. The genie's out of the bottle,
Well, I know, like my friend and I, we waited to watch it together on the TV. Like we basically streamed it like at different houses, but we just sort of was typing back and forth and doing comments about it.
Nice.
Well, private watch party.
Nice. Yeah, private watch parties.
Ordway went to see it in the theater, and then he met me. He said, "Oh, it's great. You're going to go see it?" I go, "It's on TV next week. Why would I go spend $15 to go to the hassle, to go something I'm going to get for free?" So I don't know.
So will you see Ant-Man and the Wasp in the theater?
Yeah, I already got my tickets. That's an IMAX 3D. I already bought the tickets. That's a spectacle. That's like going to see fireworks. Mm-hmm. There's a difference from going to see fireworks at the beach and watching the Macy's stuff down on the TV. It's like, I can go to the bathroom. It's not the same thing. But that's a spectacle. The Marvel movies are like events,
But wouldn't you think a big space movie like Star Trek should play on big screens how is that not different from Star Wars space fights and everything else, potentially?
I think
if they did a Star Trek series, like I just said, all the Enterprises coming together, if you told me that there was going to be a Star Trek Ultimate movie where all the cast got together and all the ships from all the different shows, and it was only going to be on the big, I would go to pay for that to see it on the big screen because it's like a firework display. If I knew it was just going to be another episode, like Insurrection was basically a lame TV episode, some of those were not worthy of. When I think of a movie, I think of like epic. It's got to be something huge. None of the Star Trek movies, except for the first J.J. Abrams, the other two were kind of, they weren't that amazing to watch. I don't know. It would have to be something unbelievable. Like when I remember the X-Files when that was on TV and they did an X-Files movie and you went to see it and you think all the answers are going to be on the big screen, so you had to go see it, and it really didn't do much, and then it came right back. So you're like, well, that was
because what the TV show did in that case is that they said, look, you have to go see this because this is where you're going to find out what is the black oil from, and what is the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Why does the cigarette smoking man? Why is he involved?
Yeah.
So it led you into going into the movie for that.
And again, if you use examples from the past, that's a gone by era.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I know.
And it was a different time.
Twin Peaks did it as well and didn't work really.
Different time.
Yeah.
But I think, John, with you have to deal with the IP in question. I think with Star Trek, you've had 70, probably 50 some years of it being more or less consumed on a smaller screen, dealing episodic or just little shorter storylines where it may not lead to being like as a movie. There's nothing. What could be the story? Like for Wrath of Khan, it was a cool story, but you could have taken Wrath of Khan and did 2 episodes on TV.
Yeah. Well, and also after the first movie, Harv Bennett came in, who was a television producer, and went to Paramount and said, I can make these movies on a shoestring compared to what you do. And as Stuart is saying, Star Trek is best as character-driven stories versus space battles. I completely agree with that. But again, I would say that the JJ, even in the sequels, Star Trek Beyond, when all those little drones just chewed the Enterprise to pieces, that was cool. The space station looked like a sci-fi cover from the 70s come to life. I mean, it's so they have big ticket kind of effects in these things. As always, as Mitch said earlier, it always comes down to story. So,
I would have loved to see what Quentin Tarantino, because he's a movie guy. He's not a guy for TV, though. I think he's done a couple shows maybe in this thing. I don't know. But what would he have done to make it a cinematic event? What would he have done to those characters on the big screen, whether violence or sex or cursing, that you would have been, oh shit, I would have never seen this on my weekly Paramount.
We'd have Sam Jackson in a Starfleet uniform.
Yeah. Right?
I got to get these motherfucking
aliens off my
motherfucking
starship. Yeah.
Say Starfleet again, motherfucker.
Yeah, right. It would have to be. Well, you know what? In that case, maybe it would have been a cast. Maybe it would have been stunt casting. Maybe it would have been Benjamin Sisko is Sam Jackson, or Sam Jackson's Ben Sisko.
Oh, God. No, I want Avery to come back. But also, by the way, when they announced, when Tarantino was kind of teasing that he wouldn't mind doing it, Patrick Stewart's like, hey, sign me up.
Yeah.
I'll be in a Tarantino Star Trek movie.
No. But I always thought he was going to do Kirk and Spock. That was my impression. That was going to be.
Well, yeah, and also specifically the piece of the action, the Gangster Planet. He wanted to revisit that story.
Oh, I didn't know he got that far into story ideas. I didn't know that. I thought it was just like, I'm going to make a Star Trek movie. Huh. Did he write a script, John, or treatment?
I don't think
anything?
so. I don't think so.
Because I think he only has one more movie in him.
Yeah, he's only going to do, what, 10 or 11, and that's it? And he's almost done?
That's what he says.
That's what he says, anyway. But
I mean, and I don't doubt his sincerity. I just think when he thinks about it, he's going to miss doing it.
Yeah, what's he going to do for the rest of his life? You know.
Well, you know that I got to say, man, I read that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood book, and it was fun. It was it was definitely deeper than what we got in the movie.
Wow, I listen to his podcast now where he watches old video stuff. Yeah, so
I was just telling Wayne before we started, I found another guy on YouTube. I'll get his name, everybody, if you're curious. I love these movies from the movies of the week from the 70s.
Yeah,
this guy has a YouTube account, Chris Johnson, and he's got a ton of those old ABC movie of the weeks. And in fact, speaking of sci-fi, one of them is titled Houston, We Have a Problem. It's from the early 70s. It's Apollo 13.
No.
I swear it's amazing, Mitch. It's Robert Culp is in mission control.
Yeah.
And it's weird because they almost do what they do in Airplane, where you're dealing with what's happening in the tower, but you also have a little bit of the like when it was in Robert Stack where you see him at home.
Yeah.
And everything. And Lloyd
Bridges.
Peter Graves' wife is sleeping with the horse.
Yeah. What
yeah,
year was that? In the set, like 75 or 6 or so?
It was called Houston, We Have a Problem.
No
I
shit.
think it was 73 or 74. I'll tell you in a second.
Oh.
74.
How'd the effects look?
Well, they use archival footage of,
wow. Really?
and they really don't show any space stuff. It's all mission control, and you see Apollo 13 launching.
Wow.
So,
I don't know. There's a lot of hidden treasures out there. Now and then you go, oh my God, I forgot that movie. It was on the ABC Movie of the Week. So.
Well, that's where I watched Night Stalker.
Yeah,
the two
where they
TV
did
pilots I watched
yeah.
late at night.
Yep.
A lot of good TV movies. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. That was their Gargoyles. Those were all classics.
Satan's School for Women or whatever it was
Yeah,
called.
yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Kate Jackson was in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the one that Roddenberry did? Spectre?
He did a couple. Spectre. He did also the Quester tapes.
Yeah.
Which everyone points to as being kind of where the idea of Data came from.
I thought Gary Seven was in one of them, that actor. Was it Robert Lansing or something? I thought he did
I'm sure. Well, Spectre is Culpin Gig
Spectre.
Young.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Okay.
And that's great. That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Are those on YouTube or Tubi or something, you say?
You can find, they're bootlegged on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes they get yanked down. But you know what I found today on that Chris Johnson account?
What's that?
Early 70s. It was called I Love a Mystery, and it's based on the old radio show.
Oh,
and it's these 3 detectives, the A1 Detective Agency, and David Hartman is one of the 3 detectives.
No kidding. You mean Lucas Tanner himself?
Lucas Tanner. Good Morning America.
Yeah. Well, I always think it was Lucas Tanner. I was always like, why is he on Good Morning America? To me, he's the guy,
By the way, we lost a lot of character actors and mentioning Lucas Tanner, because I don't know why, but I think of Lance Kerwin, James.
Yeah, 62 years old. Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that. And they said Salem's Lot, and I was like, no, James at 15, buddy. That's how I remember him.
Oh, yeah. I have, in fact, here I've got the all right. Well,
yeah, he looked nothing. I mean, no one does when they're 62, but bald mustache. I didn't recognize him. I was like, who's that?
No, we think of him like this. We'll be right back.
James at 16 will not be presented this evening, but will return next week at its regular time. Stay tuned now for a special 2-hour What Really Happened to the Class of 65.
It was the sequel to James at 15, James at 16, James at 62. You won't see James at 63.
The older sister from Little House on the Prairie was his big crush in the pilot.
Oh, Melissa Gilbert?
Yeah. Was it Melissa Gilbert, or is that the other one?
I don't know. I just remember.
Gilbert
was the tiny
middle
girl,
sister, isn't she?
Yeah, the older sister.
The younger. Yeah,
the older sisters who I'm talking about.
We opened up with tonight about Logan's Run.
Oh,
that's Heather something. That was Robert Urick's wife. She was on the TV show Logan's Run. She's passed away long ago, but it was Gregory Harrison.
Yep.
But
Gregory Harrison.
She was the little girl in Sound of Music.
Which one?
The littlest girl in the
Zadora was the little girl in Sound of Music.
No, she's in Santa Claus Conquers
Goes
the Mars.
To Mars.
Goes to Mars. Yeah, but no, the little girl in the Nicholas Hammond, Spider-Man was the oldest son, Frederick, and the little girl was future Mrs. Robert Urich, Spencer for Hire.
Okay. Here Stuart's calling back another great 70s show, and I agree. Ellery Queen. Where
with Hutton. Yeah.
Hutton. Yeah.
And who played the dad?
David Wayne.
David Wayne
was Inspector Queen.
Yeah.
Hey, geez, you just made me think of something with you're talking about people passed away. Wednesday. Ironically, when that show just comes on Netflix, the new Wednesday show, and it's a huge hit, I was thinking I'm gonna go book the original one and maybe get Christina Ricci. Well, guess what? Lauren she's just passed away last week, 64 years old, I think. So
heartbreaking.
Right? It's like darn, man. Yeah, there was a lot of them. It's always winter. I've noticed that. Maybe it's because of the weather or whatever. It seems like there's a lot of like superstar Hollywood deaths around now. January.
I hear you, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
But I don't know who else passed away. There was a bunch. I don't want to be the Grim Reaper, but
there
was a lot of golden TV people like, oh no, him, oh no. So
yeah.
Well, I want to Wayne. You mentioned you bought some new DVDs or Blu-rays lately.
Oh yes.
Do you have them
I
handy
was
or no?
listening to Mitch's wonderful podcast with Jerry Ordway, and
the Power Cosmic Podcast available on iTunes.
And he was commenting on, oh, I have such a big decision to make. There's this great series that I'd love to pick up that's made up of shitty episodes, but I don't know whether to get it in Blu-ray or in DVD.
Regular DVD.
In regular DVD. And I actually have all 3 seasons in Blu-ray of The Night Gallery with Rod Sterling.
That's right. That's right. And it's Spielberg directed that one of those, I think. So.
Yeah, that would have been
Cindy Williams. Yeah, I'm sorry. I knew I forgot somebody. I'm sorry, Wayne. Go on.
Yeah, no, they're great, actually. You have to look at it for what the time was. That
I just remember it being like a cheap set. Like Rod Sterling came out, like a blue sound stage, and they were just hanging
paintings or hanging all around
paintings. And he'd walk up to a painting and he'd go, "Let's look at this," and the camera would move in, and that would set the scene, and you'd cut into it. But they were kind of more horror based than like.
It was more horror.
Creepy. Yeah.
Well, and also he was just the host. He did write a couple.
Yeah.
But it was a different producer, and he always wanted to make that distinction that, look, I'm just the host. This is another producer.
This is not mine.
He wasn't crazy about some of them. But also, I'm curious. So you got the Blu-rays, Wayne?
Yep.
Did they restore them? Because when they were in syndication lately, they look like literally they're decomposing as we're watching.
Yeah, they're not bad. The transfers aren't that bad.
Huh. Because I've told you that too, John. I said, how come some of these older shows like The Love Boat and Vegas and they're blurry and fuzzy? And you said that's the transfer because a lot of these things are just nobody gives a crap and they're fading away.
Yep.
But then I'll go watch something like the Dracula with Jack Palance, and the colors are so vibrant, they're popping off the screen like it was made yesterday. I'm like,
it also depends on what medium they use to film it.
Oh, all right.
If they use videotape versus film.
Exactly.
If they used film, restoration's a lot easier than videotape.
Do you guys remember on IFC, Dana Gould had a show called Stan versus Evil?
Yes.
And it was a really funny show. And he purposely made the show look like those 70s movies that the way they look now.
With the blur.
Well, just that kind of green, almost like lighting.
The color timing is off on it.
Yes, yeah. There's
and that was done on purpose, and I love that. It killed me. He told me that on Word Balloon, and I was just like, "Oh, that's so fantastic, man!"
No,
and he's like, "That's how I saw most of these movies."
No, it's funny you say that because I do another YouTube show called Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure, and we did a look back at the Love Boat, and we do a little comedy skit in the beginning, and my buddy put a filter on it, so we all look blurry and fuzzy, like we were on the Love Boat looking for the Charo on the Tahini Lounge. And I fall into the water and get eaten by a shark. But I said to him, what did you do to the video? He's like, I made it look like all those reruns where they're all fuzzy and you can't make anything out now. You're like, huh. Maybe the TVs were bad. So.
Mentioning the Love Boat, do you guys remember in one of the final seasons, the captain, Doc, and I believe Gopher are watching an old World War II movie on TV. And they're like, wow, I wonder what that was like back then. And then all of a sudden we get into a flashback.
Oh, no.
And they turn the Love Boat into one of those luxury yachts that were used during the war to transport troops. And like Aaron Moran is in it, Joni from Happy Days. It's so hilariously ridiculous. And
was it like
Isaac,
McHale's Navy?
What's that?
Was it like McHale's Navy?
Or Operation Petticoat or something.
Yeah. But I mean, it was so funny. Everybody was in either Navy or nurses outfits.
The wax, the waves.
So funny. Oh my god.
You know why a lot of that happened?
For the wrong reasons.
You know why a lot of that happened? Cocaine. There was a lot of blow on those sets back then. It's like, hey, I got an idea. We're gonna make them in World War II. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think that's why Julie's cocaine habit
he had to leave the show for a while. She came back at the end, but Lauren too's had a bit of a nose candy problem. A lot of people did back then.
Chris has a good question, and I'll admit I have not been watching this, but I hear nothing but great things. Are you guys watching The Last of Us?
Yes, I've watched all 3
loved
episodes.
It.
It's a really good show. Very, very well done. Better than Walking Dead so far, but it's only been 3 episodes, so we'll see. So.
But Mitch, have you watched the playthroughs for the games on YouTube? The video games?
I've never played the video game, so no,
okay.
I have not.
I've watched the 2 playthroughs for Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
This show, is it really captures the gameplay, and it captures the storylines.
Huh.
Like a lot of it's been expanded because again, it's the gameplay is more like shoot. You move through the through the wilderness to get to the fireflies out west, but they're actually the episode 3 where there's a lot of controversy because it's like a gay story.
Whatever.
It's actually a really great story.
Is that in the video game?
It's not really in the video game, but the characters are.
Oh, okay. So this created like a backstory expanded universe.
It created a backstory. So what they're doing is they're expanding the characterization. So I don't expect the Last of Us season 1 to be the complete gameplay. Right. It's just going to take us to a certain point in the gameplay. So they're going to fill up a lot of backstory.
That's fine. They did that Halo TV show too, where they just took the premise and the characters and made their own storyline out of it. But going back real quick, John, you didn't see this. It was an episode that had, I don't know the actor's name. He was on Community. He's got a beard. He's a heavy, chunky guy. You know him if you saw him. He was on this episode of The Last of Us.
Okay.
I don't know what his name is.
Oh,
well-known guy.
Yeah, he's married to Megan McCallie, or whatever.
Oh, Nick Offerman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Yes. So it's a whole thing where, real quick, it's not to ruin anything. He's a prepper. There's this infection that's taken over the world like a zombie infection. So he's kind of walled himself off into his own little neighborhood, and he's got all these booby traps, and he's protecting himself. He's got his own heat and everything. He'll be great for years. He's been planning for the apocalypse. He hates the world. He's glad all this has gone to shit. This is what he's lived for. And then this fella comes into his community that he captures. He brings him in. They fall in love. And then it just goes over 23 years, I believe.
10 years
together.
It's 10 years.
10, and like, here's where they were when they first met. And 10 years later, here's what's going on now. And then here's how it ends. And I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but it was just a very good, well-written character story about two characters that just loved each other, set against like a war. It could have been on The Last of Us. It could have been on it could have been on any show. You could have just taken those two characters and the story of their lives together and put it anywhere. It was well done. It's just sad to watch. It was like it's a human, emotional story. And then I read stuff today that these jackasses are trying to, like, I don't know what you do. You like critic bomb it or something. You go on to one of these, what is it? Rotten Tomatoes or something?
Rotten Tomatoes, sure.
And you hit like, I don't like it. So you'll get, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is like urban wives' tale or folklore.
It does happen. But they've done that to different things.
Why? Because these homophobes are out there and they don't like that. I'm like, get over yourself, will you? It's a story. People like that exist in the world. I don't know what world you think you live in, but
I do.
What's really good about The Last of Us?
It's insane why they do these things. So anyway, but it's a great show.
Yeah.
So
what's good about The Last of Us? It doesn't work on the concept of a virus.
Yeah.
Taking over it's a fungus. Spores.
It's a fungus, yeah, because the world has gotten hotter and funguses grow in the heat. And guess what, buddy? Shit happens, and now they got this fungus taking over people, and it's not that far out of reality, too. So anyway, but yeah, that's a long story short. It's a good story. The nonsense on social media, I don't understand these people, why they want to blow up stuff just to ruin it. If you don't like it, change the channel. Move along. Go on.
There's so much stuff to watch. Why do you have to complain?
Why do you have time to worry
We actually live in a world where we don't have the 3 TV stations and PBS.
Correct. So.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I also what I love is that I understand some people use Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody doesn't. And to think that is really going to affect anything is ridiculous. It's ludicrous.
I've never looked at a movie review on. I swear to God, I'm not lying. Because Jerry will say, "Hey, someone got 47." I go, "I don't care. Is that good or bad?" He's like, "You don't look at it." I go, "No, I go to. Guess what? My money, my ticket, my time. I go make my own opinion. I don't give a crap because I like stuff that most people do. That's shit." I'm like, so whatever. I watched The Sword and the Sorcerer last week and gave it a great review because I remember Lee Horsley. I'm like, this was a great movie when I was 14, and it's not so good now, but it was fun back then. And then somebody goes, well, it only got one star.
The sword. The 3-bladed sword.
3 blades, and Bull was in it from Night Court, and he ripped someone's heart out, and Kathleen Beller was like half naked. And what else did you want for a movie? I was 14, and Kathleen Beller was half naked. What the hell? So... It was boobs, whatever.
I do know. I do know.
And the
that's right.
transfer is really good in
Do
4K.
you think the Beastmaster is an epic film? No, but Tanya Roberts was in it taking a bath with two little freaking, what do you call it, ferrets.
All right. Save it for Penthouse Forum. All right, that's enough. But
I was 13 going to Catholic school, and it was a PG movie.
Moving on, I do want to promote a new show. Sorry, buddy. I do want to promote a new show that blew me away. It is low budget. It's on the Sci-Fi Channel, but that new show called The Ark. If you miss Galactica, this is a nice poor man's version, because the conceit, and you can tell from the title, it's a colonization ship that's going to a new planet because things on Earth suck, and an asteroid hits the command area, wipes out the entire command crew.
Wow.
So kind of in the same sense of Battlestar, the people in charge are like the lowest leveled but surviving command members. And this one woman just declares, I'm in charge. And there was 400 originally on the ship. It's now down to 100. Oh. They have limited supplies, and it's moving forward from that. I thought it was really entertaining. I mean, again, it shows its low budget way, but that's okay. It's an interesting
Canadian made or something. Is it?
It I wonder, Mitch. Honestly, it seems to be, or if not,
filmed in Vancouver.
Oh, there you go.
No. I'm just saying, if you're saying Canadian made, I'm going.
No. Every time I hear Sci-Fi Channel, I think low budget. I think they're filming it in some warehouse.
100%. No, you're right though, man. No, in fact, and I know I've told you guys before, when I was doing overnight traffic at the CBS station, I forget which cable channel it was, but they would run like a 4-hour block of Canadian sci-fi from the 90s and early 2000s, and I would tease my producer and go, now it's time for Canadian science fiction television.
What was that one with the guy?
Genesis.
No, they had some. Was it Farscape? Wasn't that one with the puppets, like a Jim Henson puppet?
Yeah, but that wasn't
a Canadian.
That was
thing,
Australia.
No, that was
Australia. Oh, all right. I was going to say it was pretty interesting.
No,
good Lord. There was a show. It only lasted a season called Charlie Jade, and they burnt it out on Sci-Fi Channel late night. But it was South African made, and the idea of it was there were 3 parallel Earths. There was our Earth, there was an Earth that was depleted of resources, where this interplanetary conspiracy where they were sucking out all the resources from the dying planet Earth.
Right.
And then there was a very altruistic Earth, and maybe that's where the other resources were going. I don't know. But this cop accidentally travels dimensionally to all 3 Earths and stuff. It was great. Oh, wow, it only lasted a season.
Now,
did it wrap up or it left on a cliffhanger?
Nope, cliffhanger.
Oh,
you want
that's
great
the worst.
Canadian science fiction, The Star Lost.
Well, of course.
Oh, whoa. Star, you talking about with Walter Koenig in the 70s? That's that show?
Wasn't he in that? Yeah.
No, it was Keir Dula from
Keir Dulé. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Keir Dulé. And Harlan Ellison was involved, but he hated what the end result was, so he took his name off it.
I remember that. I remember that being on here like 7:30 on a Saturday night on the local stations, and we would watch it. Like, what is this? Because it's kind of like Logan's Run costumes and bad BBC Doctor Who sets and stuff, and it was fun because we didn't have anything else to watch, but it was all right.
Well, you had the right initials. It wasn't really BBC. It was probably CBC.
Probably CBC. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's Just As Cheap, was it?
As Cheap.
I have seen episodes of Starlost up on YouTube, as I've seen Quark. Oh
my God, Quark! Talk about weird stuff. That video quality is unbelievable. I think the one I saw, the colors are brand new. They're vivid. They're sharp.
Wow.
Quark is in good shape, yet Love Boat's blurry and messy. Who knows? Or Fantasy Island. So
Lair says that you're right, Mitch. Walter Koenig played Oro on Starlost.
There you go. I got some brain cells left. I knew something was like that.
But I like the art.
Ordway and I talked about a bunch of stuff. Now we're off on the tangent. We're going to get to DC, but he was telling me about this stuff. He's 10 years older than me. A lot of sci-fi shows, again, one season come and gone. He mentioned a show called The Immortal, which I'd never heard of. This dude had some kind of blood that made him live forever. Yeah. It was like the Fugitive or the Hulk. He was on the run, and rich people were trying to get him because they wanted his blood to make themselves live forever. it sounded like a cool idea. And he goes, oh, it was really good, but it only one and done season. Never saw it. Don't know who was in it. Never saw any reruns. I'm asking you guys, have you seen it anywhere?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, not anywhere. I remember seeing it when it
You
came
own
out.
it, don't you? I own it right here.
No, I don't
no,
own
I
that
just-
one yet.
I believe also like these other shows. I think I've seen it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Do you know who was in it though? Because I'm like,
Wasn't it
what?
Christopher George?
Yeah.
That's who it was. Because Jerry said that. And I said, Phyllis George? He goes, no, Christopher George. I go, who's that?
Would have
I
been
don't
better
know
with Phyllis
Christopher
George.
Oh,
We
yeah,
want
that-
Pamela Brown on CNN, the news anchor, is Phyllis George's daughter.
I remember Phyllis George, Brent Musburger, and all the Len
Jimmy the
Berman.
Greek.
Yeah, Jimmy the Greek.
Here
Anthony
it is.
Snyder's dad.
You see, Planet Lair remembers the immortal quite well. The pilot he was a race car driver who lived through a crash. That's how the rich guys knew about him and wanted him.
Oh, cool.
That's so funny.
And then Jerry said, of course, The Invaders was a good show, which I
Yes.
never watched.
Yes.
Is that Jerry Anderson? Is that Thunderbirds guy?
No, it was Quinn Martin, and it's Roy. What's his name? Not Roy Huggins. Roy Finnis. Roy Finnis.
Oh, I guessed right. Oh, I didn't know.
Yep.
And it was
Roy
a comic
Finnis.
book.
It was a comic book?
Yeah, there was a couple of comic books with the Invaders. I remember seeing the covers.
Yeah, Gold
That's
Key
the
Belt.
thing where there was really an invasion happening, but they told people it was a movie? Is that the premise of that show? They kind of lied about it? Or is that UFO?
No, UFO was what you're thinking of. He saw like a UFO.
An actual UFO.
Right. And the invaders were like, they look human, and they're just very quietly infiltrating, society.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I love UFO. UFO is on that what was IMDb.com, and it's now Freevee, and it's a free streamer with commercials.
That was the BBC, the British
That's
one, right?
UFO.
Yeah.
That was Jerry
ITV.
Anderson.
Not
ITV.
BBC, that was ITV.
All right.
You're right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff that's out there that I'm like, is it still out there? Now, we all know the Avengers. We're going to wrap this up. The Avengers with Patrick McNee, but then there was the new Avengers.
Yes.
With Joanna Lumley. I used to watch that on CBS Friday night, late night, 11:30. They would show reruns of that or The Night Stalker.
Yep.
I don't know where that one went because I used to like that version of it because she was kind of hot.
Oh,
Joanna Lumley. Yeah.
Come on.
I remember the episode. She's posing as a model, like a statue.
Yeah.
In a storefront frame, and as the guy was walking by, her top drops down, like her clothes drop down.
Oh.
I don't know why that sticks in my mind, but I do remember that.
That's why I remember the Beastmaster so much too. But anyway, neither here nor there. There was a lot of cool shows. Hey man, I was watching The Adventures of Wells Fargo last night on some Western channel. I'm like, they made a show about the bank, but no, it's about a guy
Barnaby Coast
with Shatner.
Which
I remember that. When he would wear the makeup, he'd have like little disguises. I remember.
And Doug McClure, the real Troy McClure. Doug McClure was on that show.
McClure, yeah. I remember when Shatner used to be on Masquerade Party.
Boy, you are so scratching Planet Lair's itch. He's like, I used to sit through the New Invaders, or it's the New Avengers, to watch the Return of the Saint. Absolutely, yeah. Ian Ogilvy. They redid the Simon Templar Saint, but Ian Ogilvy was the Saint in that. And in fact, there was an attempt to make a new Saint series.
Yeah,
not that long ago, within 10 years, and both Roger Moore and Ian Ogilvy were in the new version. And Roger Moore, not only did he do the original Saint television show, but to entice him, he was a producer on that, and I believe was a part owner of the franchise.
I didn't know after the Kilmer movie. I didn't know they tried to bring it back again. So.
Yeah, they did.
Oh God, I don't remember the Clone Master with Art Hindle.
No, I never heard of such a thing. No,
so I don't remember that. I do remember Exo Man, however.
Oh my God, that was like the cheesy Iron Man with Peter Aykroyd. Not Dan Aykroyd, but a guy named Peter. I don't even think they're related. I think Aykroyd spelled differently, but yeah, I remember Exo Man. He literally looked like Bender from Futurama or Bender. Sure. He was like a big barrel, like cheesy Iron Man. I remember the Magician with
Bill Bixby.
Bill Bixby.
That was something.
Oh, and the license plate was Spirit. I remember that of his car because he had the jet, and the car would roll down, and he had a personalized license plate that said Spirit.
Spirit? Oh, I don't remember all that.
Yeah.
Yep,
See,
I remember that.
Stuff. Why don't they remake some of those shows? They're always like scratching their head, like we got to remake Magnum PI. So much that CBS didn't want it. NBC picked it up. I go, seriously, guys, you couldn't come up with a better show? You got to steal.
Yeah, but the magician, they'd get to the fight scene, and Bill Bixby would still be doing illusion, stage illusion. Exactly, and they were like this, and he'd be.
It's like Doug Henning's here. Magic.
Here's a pigeon.
Come on, man. Exactly. Hey, quit hitting me with the magic rings. All right, enough. And the scarves. You're gonna try me up with the scarves.
Hey, let me tell you, after all said and done, it was no Switch with Robert Wagner and Eddie Albert.
Love that show.
Sadly, I don't know why I know the theme in my head. And the coin would flip around. It's like, and Jerry said the other day at lunch, he goes, do you ever think about why your brain remembers some of this stuff? And I go, and I'm not thinking of the cure for cancer or world peace. Yeah, I do wonder about that. Like, I know the theme to Switch.
All right, supporting cast, Mitch, of Switch.
Oh, it was a girl. It wasn't Joanne Flug, was it?
No, it wasn't. By the way, talk about your Beastmaster memories. Joanne Flug.
Oh, absolutely.
At all.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man.
But no, it was Sharon Gless from Cagney and Lacey.
Really?
And believe it or not, Charlie Callis, everybody.
Oh my God, I make fun of him all the time when somebody goes, who's coming to Terrificon? I go, I don't want to get people excited, but I believe I can get Charlie Callis. And then Jerry goes, he's dead. I don't think he's coming then.
I told you guys.
I need an arrow. I need the arrow.
He came to the Score, the sports station I worked at, and he was doing, comedy at Hollywood Casino. But I'm like, hey man, tell me about being Sinestro in those, Challenge of the Superheroes or Legend of the Super. And his bug eyes got even wider, and he had a handler with him. He goes, see, there's one guy like this in every city that remembers Sinestro. He goes, I know. I can check you off.
And I have that on DVD.
Oh, shut up. I know you would say that. I got slapped on the wrist today by some dork out there because, and I don't care, I'm going to call him a dork. We welcome back John Shipp, TV's original Flash. Actually, the original Flash to be played in live action was in Challenge of the Super Friends in 1978, and it was played by this other guy. I go, dude, nobody cares. He ain't coming to the show. Go back home. Go back go get your tater tots and go back in your peanut butter fortress and shut up and get off the internet. Okay.
Hey, Larry, I wouldn't do that. Actually, he says
actually.
That's so funny, man.
That's not the church.
Stanley, we're going to talk about that. Stanley's like, all right, enough of this crap.
All right, we're going into that was my segue. That was my Johnny Carson segue. By mentioning the Flash, watch how good this is, buddy. John, do you know that new head of DC movies, James Gunn, said the Flash movie will be the relaunch of the entire DC cinematic and television world? What are your thoughts?
Well, I was surprised. I was surprised that, first of all, he acknowledged Flashpoint or whatever it's called, and had such a high opinion of it. But also that apparently because I watched the 6-minute video as well, obviously. Yeah. But it was surprising to me that apparently maybe they were able to recut some things, or I have no idea. But it seems like the new guys had some involvement with whatever the final version of that movie is going to be.
Well, I would think they have to have some kind of
No, I think it was a movie that was, or at least forgive me, Mitch, but I think it was a movie that was made. And again, it was supposed to come out during COVID, for Christ's sake.
Well, if they're going to use it as the linchpin to relaunch their stuff, I think they had to go and tweak little, scenes here and there.
I suppose, but that was a surprise to me. That was a surprise to me. I also don't know. We had that we went back and forth about how I'm like it's going to take 2 years before we see anything new, and we'll see, because Creature Commandos sounds like it might already have been in production.
Yeah, because the animation takes a while, and I saw the same thing when I saw the scene. I go, wait, they already drew this and animated it? That was weird.
Yeah, and animation usually takes a year ahead of time because they'll record the voices first, and then they'll do the animation.
And then he said that the voices of the Creature Commando guys are going to be played like live action later on. So, so they've had this planned out.
But again, Mitch, that underlines what I was saying before in terms of all this stuff is connected now.
Yeah.
They don't want it to be different. I mean, look at What If and having Chadwick Boseman be Black Panther before he passed away. And, I mean, some of the characters they did do sound alikes and things. But no, I think this is great. And I also, God, I'm so happy for Tom King and Bilquis Evely for
and Dan Jurgens as well for Booster Gold and all those guys that came up.
I was about to say, but no, it's Blue Beetle that's coming out this summer.
That's done. That was in the can. No, but Booster Gold's coming as a TV series. Now the thing is, we talked about too with Ordway. We did our podcast all about it this week. Was the selection of movies, and Jerry's like, well, what about Joker and what about Batman 2? And they came out and said that's in the Elseworlds. I like how they just wrapped that around there and said, look, they're in production, all right. We're not going to go call up Joaquin Phoenix and say you got to start over, or the other Batman picture that made $1 billion, right? So they're not going to you can't do that. But I said to Jerry, is the average moviegoer going to be any bit confused when he goes to the movie and sees a brave and bold Batman movie with Damian, and then maybe the Joker pops up in somewhere else, and they go, wait a minute, is that supposed to be this and that? And Jerry goes, no, I think the average guy I said, I don't think the average guy knows what the hell's going on.
Well, that goes back to what Dan DiDio said, that when he took over, they got rid of Elseworlds because it was diluting the product. So I think when you're doing the two, again, for us, it's not a problem. We can separate the two. But I think overall, I think people will get confused.
But also, it doesn't matter. And further, listen, you're right. I guess we do pay more attention than the average person. But the hype machine will be out there and be very specific of, well, this is an Elseworlds, or this is an alternate version. And again, the success of both the Batman movie and the Joker movie, who cares? Let them come out.
I know they're making money. They're not going to sit there and go, whoa, we don't want money.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a business at the end of the day. I tell Jerry, I go, it's called show business. At the end of the day, they're making product for consumers. As much as art is a big part of it, not Art Balthazar, hey Artie, but they got stockholders, they got people with jobs, they got to make money. Okay, I know you want to have this epic vision, but if it's not making money, like the Batgirl movie, I read an article, they said it was totally unreleasable, and there were some weird comments like it would have hurt a lot of the people that were involved. I'm like, not physically, but I'm like, what would have hurt their careers? It was that bad a movie. I mean, you're never going to see it. It's a tax write-off. That's never going to show up. I mean, they probably burned the negative from what I heard because they don't want to have any money.
Nothing like the Fantastic Four that you can get copies of.
Yeah, well, everything's digital now. I'm sure somebody just hit a delete on a hard drive and wiped it out. Not like film processing.
Well, but USB key to make sure you have a backup copy just in case.
Oh, stop. I'll tell you what, though. I felt bad for Michael Keaton because I was really hoping to see, and we still might in the Flash movie. But
I think he is in the Flash.
He is in the Flash movie.
But he was going to be in the Batgirl picture too, from what I gathered. I thought
right, of course, yes, yes, definitely. No, that was going to happen. No, and I agree with you. It's a shame
because these guys aren't getting any younger. That's what I'm saying. I go,
never say never. I think again, beyond the 6-minute James Gunn video.
Yeah.
If you look at some of like the Hollywood Reporter or Gizmodo IO9's coverage, they got into deeper questions, and the press was able to get different answers beyond the 6-minute video we got.
Yeah.
So I think never say never regarding multiverse. I believe Gunn in one of those articles even made the allusion of we will likely get to the multiverse, just not right away.
Right.
So, and I agree with Lar, who says they'll probably find a place for Michael Keaton.
Well, Jerry said too. He said, they got a chance to rewrite this whole thing. I mean, they all agreed on one thing, that it was a mess. That no one's going to come out and say the DC cinematic world was perfect. It's like between Snyder and Shazam and Superman, it was like all over the place. Put it past you, put it behind you.
Well,
I'm not going to talk about it. Just move along.
No, again, this is the product that we're going to get for the next year and change.
Yeah.
Until this Gun stuff starts hitting the atmosphere. I found it interesting that they're putting Peacemaker season 2 on hold to do a Waller series, and that Cena will be in that Waller series, which I think is a great idea.
Well, I think the Waller one I read, I think was only 6 episodes, and I think he wants to do like 12 for the other one. So I think he hasn't written them yet. This guy's got a lot going on. He's doing a Superman relaunch that he's going to write and direct. To do, how many episodes of these 2 shows, 18 scripts, that's a lot of stuff to be putting together. And you want to make it quality, because he did stress the quality stuff. He said, we're not going to put hundreds of millions of dollars into projects unless it's quality or it's sound, or let's have 2/3 of the script written and we'll make up the rest of the story as we're making the movie, because that led to nothing but disasters or just a lot of confusion for people.
Tom King told me the other day on Word Balloon that, listen, James Gunn has been inside the belly of the beast that is Marvel movies. His best friend is Kevin Feige. So he knows what works and what doesn't, and has a track record of, we'll see what happens in the 3rd Guardians movie, but the first 2 and the holiday special, the guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I have full faith in him and his partner getting it done and doing it right. And I love the ideas that we're hearing. I do find it interesting that he wants to do Brave and Bold with Damian and do the Grant Morrison Damian story. But I like it anyway, regardless. And it's very obvious that you don't have to worry about, we don't need to see the origin of Superman. Right? We don't. We don't need to see Batman's origin.
I said that to Jerry. Just like the last Spider-Man movies, Marvel did. You didn't see Uncle Ben die. You didn't see this, but everybody knows those stories. Every kid knows how Spider-Man became, Peter Parker became Spider-Man. You know Superman's from another planet, for Christ's sakes. You don't need to send 45 minutes of that again, or Batman's getting his parents killed. Come on now.
How many times do you need to see the pearls hit the ground?
Exactly. So I'm glad they're going forward with that type of stuff. Swamp Thing, Jerry actually had a cool idea. He said, what if you made the Swamp Thing like an anthology show, like the Twilight Zone, and every week he comes up out of the swamp? And I said, smoking a cigarette? And Jerry goes, no, smoking a piece of himself. He just breaks off a piece and smokes a doobie and goes, submitted for your approval. The story of James Whitmore as he goes in the swamp and kills his wife, or did he? And then it turns into like a half-hour thing. I'm like, that's cool. But the fact that they're doing a Swamp Thing movie, like a horror movie type of thing, that's good, like rated R, I hope.
Well, the TV series was really good. I love the TV series.
The new one that came out with Mears. Yeah. Derek Mears.
Agreed. No,
I
agree.
Well done. It looked great. The makeup was great, but
I'm very excited for the Lantern show. And I think they got the right idea about that.
Yep. Not the Greg Berlanti stuff that he worked on for years. That's got
which is a shame.
I know. Guy worked on
because again, I think Berlanti is a great. The TV product was great, and it's a shame that they never got the chance to make movies. But it's a James Gunn world now, so unfortunately, that scrapped the Lantern thing that Berlanti was working on.
Yeah, I thought Greg Berlanti's thing was the Green Lantern Corps, where you spotlight different lanterns every week. That's a great idea.
Well, but it sounds like that's what we're going to get with Lanterns with this other show. The difference, I think, with the Berlanti thing too was they were going to have Alan Scott, and I don't know if they were going to get into Alan Scott being gay as well. I had no idea, which I think is again, I think it's a great idea. I think it's excellent. Let's see Alan Scott not only have to deal with having the secret identity of Green Lantern, but also having to be a closeted gay gentleman in 1940s society. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. And then what about the Paradise Lost bit where you go back to Paradise Island before Wonder Woman and tell the backstory of that?
Well, and it's funny because I'm due to talk to Kelly Sue DeConnick about Historia, her Black Label prequel to Wonder Woman, and Nicholas Scott drew the 3rd volume of that, and we're trying to schedule a time that we'll talk about that.
That's
but
cool.
I wonder if they're leaning on her in any way. It was really great to hear that Tom King is one of the key writers that is involved with Gunn and planning this stuff out.
Tom King coming to Terrificon July 28th to the 30th here at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Tickets on sale now. Sure, I've heard of him. Yeah. No, Tom, I just finished Strange Adventures. I got the trade for Christmas.
Wasn't that great?
Him and Doc and Mitch Gerads did that. A great job on that one. Again, obscure characters, kind of like a James Gunn. Go pick somebody that you don't think about much and tell a terrific story about him. He did it with The Vision. He did it with Mr. Miracle. These are like
Tom
characters,
I think Tom really shines when he stays away from the main characters.
Yeah.
If he goes to the guys you don't think about, he tells an amazing story.
I thought his Superman story that he did with Kubert was great. I loved his Batman run. And but I agree with you guys. And in fact, currently, Human Target is amazing.
Yeah.
And Langley says so as well. I agree, Langley. And also, Danger Street is fantastic. All those first issue special characters being thrown together. It's Warlord, Starman, and Metamorpho.
Yeah. Metamorpho. Cop. Dude, that would be a crazy thing if they ever did that.
You do it with CGI. Yeah, you do it with CGI now.
Oh, you can do it.
Oh my God. It'd be like a Plastic Man on acid. That's how I always thought of Metamorpho.
Or the T2.
Tom King should write a Metamorpho book if he's out there listening. Hint. Send me $5 for the book idea.
That would be great. Also, Gotham City Year One. I love Slam Bradley, and it is such a great story. Such a great story.
Jesus Christ, you're pulling it all the way back to the 30s on that one, aren't you?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But
when the Sugar and Spice movie comes out, then I'll know they're really.
Which version of Sugar and Spice? There was a recent one that was pretty wild.
No. I'm talking about the original little kids and stuff. But but what do you think about the whole superhero fatigue going on? Do you think it's Marvel's getting problems right now because of too much, or DC's coming at a bad time? Like,
hey, Phase 4 was clunky.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with Ant-Man and the Wasp and Kang and all this stuff. I have faith that they'll right the ship. I remember literally 10 years ago, 2013, it was, are we getting oversaturated with superheroes? Blah, blah, blah. Well, here we are 10 years later.
I know.
So no, I don't buy it. I think as I said, the last time I believe it was the last episode we talked, Mitch, where it's like every bad mistake can be repaired with a new good movie. And then nobody talks about the bad movie anymore.
No.
So I'm not worried. I'm really not worried.
The Quantum Manium is really introducing the whole Kang story.
Phase 5, yeah.
Phase 5. Phase 4 was, they just needed to get it out. But
after Phase 4 ended, I thought Phase 4 was just actually introducing younger versions of all the older characters, because that's kind of what happened at the end. I mean, you had the new Black Panther, the new Hawkeye, the Scarlet Witch's kids, the
Ironheart.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, wait a minute, there was kind of a plot going on. You just didn't see it because they seemed to be minor little introductions, but later on
they're going to do like Young Avengers.
Roles. Yeah, the Young Avengers. So that really was Phase 4. Was this, let's introduce a new Black Widow because the other one's gone, so there's sisters here. It was there, but it just wasn't like in your face and like, wow, look at this. Why are they all here? But it'll make sense eventually, It
was hit and miss. I mean, and really the TV product was superior to the movie product,
with
the exception of the Spider-Man movie. I think. I
mean,
and I was going to say, I finally finished watching Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was good.
I said to Jerry, I think what they're going to do is I know they're going to do a Secret Wars, probably based on the Hickman more than the Shooter book, where they bring everybody back. Like, everybody, Chris Evans, everybody will come back, even Robert Downey Jr., because it'll be some kind of like Kang multiverse.
Alternate universe, thing. Absolutely.
And then if you're Feige, you go out on a bang and saying, hey, it's been a great 25-year ride or whatever it's going to be at that point, and you end it all. But then you're Disney and you go, wait a minute, we have all this IP. You relaunch everything from day one again with all new younger actors. And you wanted to see Captain America in World War II? We'll do those stories. You wanted to see Tony Stark here? We'll do that. Or that's what I think they're going to do.
I think it's
still going by.
I think it's a very distinct possibility that the classics will come back because they've opened up this alternate universe possibility. Wait a minute. let's see here. I'm going to bring up a couple of comments. Mario says, would they have made Shuri Black Panther if Chadwick were still alive? The answer is no. Of course not.
No.
Of course not.
You can see that movie that was in Black Panther too. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you watch it, you can go, we know what happened to him. But if you took out the storyline of him dying, it's pretty much a solid Namor versus Black Panther movie. Sure. Just there. They just had to add 40 minutes of what do we do now? But yeah, it worked fine the way it was. And I'm like, if he lived, that's probably would have been the story, and it would have been, okay, pretty much
And I agree with what Lair says here, where he's like, there will be no superhero fatigue because there are no superhero movies anymore. Ant-Man movies are heist movies. Captain America is war dealing with war sets of films. Sure. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's the movies are evolving. And again, I think the set, I mean, Phase 4 was a lot of setup.
Yeah.
And like I said, hit and miss. But no, I think we'll be fine with Phase 5.
What I think the only rogue element is the Sony. Sony's like that crazy drunk at the bar that, just like rambles in like, I'm going to do a Craven the Hunter. I got a Madam Web movie and I'm going to do, and people are like, oh God, go home. You're drunk, Sony.
Don't you think
I'm going to make Morbius 2.
They're kind of outliers in the same way that unfortunately the Fox X-Men universe evolved into, all right, there, with the exception of Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, all right, here's
another piece of crap because we own it. Yeah. We're going to keep making these until we don't have to anymore. Fantastic Four. Yeah. Like, oh God, no,
Well, that we're hoping that Quantumania, that's where we see Reed and the gang, that they were in the quantum universe.
If you got Kang, according to my Marvel history, he's a descendant of was it Nathan Richards or
Nathan Richards.
So that's his great whatever grandfather somehow. So yeah, somewhere he's in there.
By the way, Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly did a phenomenal Kang miniseries a couple of years ago. That is on the Marvel Unlimited app if you have it, if you missed it. And honestly, man, those guys were so not on my radar. And because of Star Trek, I'm like, oh, these guys are good. And as I was talking to them, they're like, oh, we did this in Marvel. We did that in Marvel. I'm like, okay, I got some assigned reading I'm going to have to do. And they're really great. They're really great writers.
You know what I like? When the Marvel movies comes out, it really does bring back a lot of great stories. And they're smart when they package these epic books and these like trades that are like, you want to know about Kang before you see the movie? Here's like 40 stories all for like $39 and whatever. And you could read the Kurt Busiek story, and then the what was it, the Avengers, Future Avengers?
Avengers Forever.
Avengers Forever.
Yeah. Read that.
So, but it still has relevance. You know what I'm saying? That all these stories that came out 20, 30 years ago, even the freaking Fantastic Four number 19, where they meet Rama Tut, who could be a future version again, all that's together. And sadly, DC, with all their rebirths and relaunches and Identity Crisis and all that, they broke up their continuity so much purposefully that you couldn't really put that together in a book because you'd confuse the shit out of people. I think they'd be like, wait, who's this Supergirl? Oh, she's an alien. No, that's his cousin from another Kandor. What's going on here right now? So I don't know. DC, the new DC, because did you talk to who's the fella there? The Kennedy Johnson? The fella that's
Philip Kennedy Johnson, sure.
Yeah, I just read that 1050 and 1051.
Yeah, Action.
Yeah, Action. Yeah. Really good, nice launch. I might start getting it again too, but
it's great.
They got to do stuff with their stories because you walk into that comic shop every week and it's like 7 to 10 Batman or Batman related books on the shelf. And then maybe there's a Superman here and maybe a Green Arrow there, and that's about it. It's like,
but dude. I think they are, because like Ram V is killing it on Detective and telling his own story. I think Zdarsky's doing a great job on Batman. Williamson and Philip Johnson are doing a great job on Superman.
Yeah.
I also think they've taken a step forward in not reforming the Justice League.
Yeah.
And instead, in that great moment in Nightwing, I'll be talking to Tom Taylor very soon, but in that great moment in Nightwing where Bruce tells Dick, this is your time. It's time for the Titans to step up and be the front team. Well, they're finally doing it.
Yeah, I know.
All these kids that grew up in the 80s, loving Wolfman and Perez, your dream has come true.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to take center stage. Not to say that the Justice League won't eventually come back. Of course they will.
Right.
But they finally realize that they can elevate these legacy characters that have been around a lot longer than the Marvel legacy characters.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just fun to watch people being reinvented. Maybe they'll bring back House of Secrets and House of Mystery. You'll have Cain and Abel come back because they were in Sandman, the TV series, so they might as well pop up.
That's your anthology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mitch. Say it again.
No, I said maybe they could pop up in the Swamp Thing movie or something like that.
I was going to say that's your anthology show. Make House of Secrets or House.
Yeah,
of
there you go. Right. And that's coming back too. Sandman season 2 eventually, right? Somewhere.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Although maybe not, because now the Gun, that was another pre-Gun.
Oh,
DC
really?
thing. I have no idea.
I thought that was like a Netflix into its own.
Well, it is, and I would assume so, and especially given that it was successful.
Right.
But I mean, we're seeing that if Gunn isn't involved, and it's not already made, that no. I mean, God, they were going to make a Legion of Superheroes animated show. That's off the books now.
The Penguin show's still going, right? With Colin Farrell? That was supposed to happen.
I don't believe so.
Really? Oh.
I could be wrong. He certainly didn't mention it. You saw what he mentioned.
Yeah, no, but I remember it was tied to the Batman, which he said is going to be in its separate universe.
Yeah, but
like,
again, if it's not already in production, I kind of don't think it's going to happen, man. Mario says Sandman 2 is happening.
Okay, how much money do you think that Discovery Channel is trying to?
Oh, and Langley says apparently the Penguin thing is filming.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, HBO's got to have something on that. What else are they going to?
Well, but they are, because there is like an animated Legion of Superheroes movie.
Yeah, that's coming out shortly.
Yes, and I mean that's and like Gunn announced. I love that image in here. In fact, I think I've got it still on my list of images when I talked to Tom. Maybe not. Oh, maybe I don't. No, I don't. I was going to say the DC lineup, just like Marvel did, of the timeline of when everything's coming out. So I if the Penguin was on that timeline, I didn't remember seeing it.
Yeah.
So.
I saw 4 movies here, and then I saw animated series and TV series on the bottom part of it,
Yeah. Well, those 4 things, those were
Superman, Swamp Thing, Batman and Brave and Bold, and
no.
The Authority.
The four, let me say, Mitch, the 4 on top before we get to the Gun projects are Shazam 2, Blue Beetle, Batman, and Joker.
Yeah, don't forget Aquaman.
Oh, excuse me, Aquaman.
Aquaman, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then we get into the Gun world.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go, everybody. I think we did good. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover. Watch The Ark, everybody. I understand everyone's watching Last of Us, and that's great. I'm kind of zombied out. I got to be honest.
But it's not really zombies.
Huh?
Whatever.
No,
I don't care if it's fungus-based. I don't like walking decomposed people.
Well,
however
they get into fungus.
I'm not interested.
Go to a comic book convention. They're all there all the time.
What's The Sword and the Sorcerer? It's available on 4K right now.
Outstanding.
Lee Horsley's in it.
Indeed, Matt Houston.
Poor
man's Tom Selleck.
Reb Brown makes an appearance in Sword and Sorcerer, which
we love Reb Brown. Come on. When is he coming back to Terrificon?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm really glad Mario mentioned this. I haven't watched it yet on Peacock, but Poker Face is certainly getting a lot of hype, being kind of Columbo-ish, and I love Columbo. So,
who doesn't love Columbo?
Stanley's asked if we're interested in the Brave and Bold movie. Sure, of course we are.
Yeah.
I'm just
I gotta admit though, when I heard Brave and Bold, I thought it was going to be like a Batman team-up TV show. I was like, yeah, he's going to meet like Enemy Ace. He's going to meet Sergeant Rock. And then I go, no, it's a movie. I go, well, don't call it Brave and Bold then, because that to me brings up memories of.
Well, no, Batman's the brave and Damon's the bold.
Brave and Bold.
Sure, man.
Right. Swamp Thing. Look at that. Guardians of the Universe, the Brave and the Bold.
Sure, man. I love the Batman Wildcat Brave and Bold.
Yeah. You know what was a great thing called Brave and Bold? That cartoon series that ran that had Rex Bardo as the voice.
Bader, yes.
Dietrich Bader. Yeah. That was a great
those were a lot of fun.
But like I was saying, the one thing I'm really sad for cancellation is Doom Patrol, because I love Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
That was a great series.
But it did. But again, we did fine, guys. We got plenty of
seasons. Yeah,
they did fine.
Steve the Road that came to life. I mean, who would have thought you'd see such a thing? So
yeah.
And Timothy Dalton, who's in 1923 now. That guy's the hardest working show business,
I'm so happy for him. I love that guy. I think he unfortunately the 2 Bond movies were really when they were going cheap on those movies, and they show. But
Barron.
What's that?
Prince Barron from Flash Gordon.
Of course. Rocketeer, the bad guy.
I was going to say he was Sinclair, Neville Sinclair from the Rocketeer.
Right, Errol Flynn Nazi. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Very good, boys.
He will not come to conventions, I asked. $200,000 guarantee. Not happening.
All right, time to go. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I don't know if we'll be back next week, but we certainly will be on to review Picard Season 3 as it gets going. So watch for us then. But in the meantime, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.